Melissa is my name, and I have spent my entire life in that beautiful place, bewitched by the charm of stony, narrow paths, antique houses from the 18th century, and a rhythm of life without rush. I encountered love in my early adult years upon crossing paths with Arthur, a charismatic young man, captivating gaze and a smile that melted hearts. Our love story blossomed, leading us to commit to each other in marriage at the picturesque church located on a hillside. Arthur's mom, Edna, possessed a strong presence, and her unusual approach to parenting was influenced by the hardships she experienced. She never supported our relationship and held me responsible for the troubles our family encountered. Despite the punitive attitude of Arthur's mother, I held an unflinching acknowledge of Edna's challenging life that had perhaps hardened her heart. Often I pondered upon the countless trials she must have undergone which crafted her stern demeanor, and silently bore her disapproval of our alliance. When Arthur and I faced issues, Edna was quick to lay the blame at my feet, insinuating that I was the fundamental problem in our familial equation. Grievously, I bore the brunt of our adversities, as she perpetually pointed out my inadequacies. Our marital bliss was punctured when we realized that we could not bear children. Anguish wore many faces, mine, Arthur's, but the cruelest, Edna's. The frigid glares, scathing verbal renditions, and not-so-subtle insinuations cast a dark cloud over our lives. One evening, returning from work, I overheard Edna making a sinister proposition to Arthur, suggesting he should divorce me and marry our nanny Clara. Tears stung my eyes as I struggled to come to terms with Edna's treachery. It was an undeniable betrayal that cut deeper than any knife ever could. I hid behind the door, my heart pounding in my chest, as I listened to Arthur's response. To my relief, he vehemently rejected the sordid suggestion, defending our love and commitment to each other. However, the damage had been done, and Arthur's words, though comforting, could not fully heal the gaping wound left by Edna's duplicity. The specter of her venomous plot continued to hover silently over our marriage, a malicious specter that threatened to poison our happiness and corrode the very foundation upon which our love was built. Clara, a pixie-haired lady with a rosy face and cheeks that dimpled when she laughed, had been a nanny to our adopted daughter for about 2 years. She was captivated by our inability to bear children and voluntarily offered herself to be the surrogate. Arthur refused, his defiance setting off a series of cold silences and quiet, bitter confrontations. As each year passed, our childless predicament seemed to diminish our existence in Edna's eyes. Yet Arthur remained unyielding, his pride casting an even deeper chill over our household, and fostering a number of hushed, acrimonious disputes. Other than the ticking clock that marked our childless reality, time appeared to stand still. Over time, Edna's disdain continued to permeate our lives, her disappointment tinging our days with an unspoken melancholy that only highlighted our unfortunate state. Our forced smiles and hollow laughter did nothing to deceive her. We were to her like a barren tree in the midst of spring, a stark reminder of what should have existed but did not. Each passing season seemed only to punctuate our plight, each failed expectation becoming a glaring testimony of our diminished worth in her sight. The once warm and welcoming hearth of our home had been reduced to an icy fortress of resentment and regret, as if mirroring our shattered dreams. The once lively abode where love and laughter were but common norms seemed to deteriorate steadily, crushed under the weight of silent accusations and misplaced blame. Arthur's persistent refusal felt like an unending winter, each no a flake of snow slowly burying our once warm hearts. Paradoxically, as the white shroud of our frozen life thickened, the cold between us intensified, as if each sorrowful gaze from Edna burned with an icy flame. Every passing moment felt like an echo of a lost life, our childless existence creating a void that consumed joy, love, and ambition, transforming them into hushed arguments, icy glares, and a relentless regret. Our life became a painting tarnished by time, a beautiful diaspora reduced to a monotonous canvas by strife and unfulfilled dreams. Arthur turned silent, his strong voice stilled, further emphasizing the hollowness that thrived within our home, while every glance from Edna served as a bitter reminder of the life we could, yet failed to conceive. One day, after returning from work, our daughter rushed to me in my bedroom with the news I have anticipated for so long. Her eyes were shining with fear as she breathlessly told me that,
"I overheard Granny telling Daddy to leave you, and Daddy has agreed to leave you. I will leave with you, Mommy."
We hugged and cried together, overwhelmed with emotion and grief for this life-changing tragedy. We hugged and cried together, overwhelmed with emotion and grief for this life-changing tragedy. As we continued to console each other through our heartache, we began to reflect upon the countless memories we had shared with Arthur, cherishing the precious moments we were fortunate to have experienced. Gradually, our sorrow shifted towards gratitude and a sense of unity, knowing that we would face this adversity as a united front. I promise to take you with me. Calm down. Believe me when I say, there's no reason for your mood to shudder or quake. My overriding covenant with you, your peace, I will not break. Calm your racing heartbeat. There's no cause for dread to seize you. Have faith in my assurances, as all will be well as per my view. Mitigate your unease and distress. I urge you not to surrender your mind to pessimistic thinking. An exciting journey is in our path, and I pledge to remain with you unblinking. Release your inhibitions and free yourself of reluctance. Certainly you should remain calm and not succumb to the confusion that comes with fear. Rest assured, I am committed to my promise to have you by my side. Peace should be your biggest ally, not restless worry. You should put your faith in my guarantee, in the unwavering dedication I present to you. Repose your heart and relieve your fears. I assure you that our journeys will intersect as assured. I am determined to accompany you. Be at ease. I am not someone who gives empty assurances, but I am known for my steadfast and decisive confirmations. Permit yourself to soak in tranquility as opposed to unnecessary worry. Do remember that promises are a responsibility that I do not trivialize. Later in the night, Arthur had the courage to talk to me. He simply said,
I am sorry I cannot continue this journey with you. I want a divorce.
My answer to his statement was, only on one condition.
Which condition?
I get full custody of our daughter.
You can have her and any other thing in this house. I am expecting a baby anyways.
I screamed, what? Wow, with who?
Clara, who else were you expecting?
He said with a chuckle as I walked out the room. I could see the surprise flicker across his face, his eyes wide in disbelief. It's delightful to hear. I send my best wishes and hope that your journey as a pair will be filled with joy. Indeed, it's marvelous to hear such news. As you embark on this remarkable journey together, may each step be enriched with shared laughter and deepening love. In times of tranquility and tempest, may your bond remain unshakable. Your path as a duo is anticipated to blossom with wonderful feelings and everlasting happiness. Carry this joy along as you explore new horizons and create memorable stories as a pair. Such delightful journey brings me immense cheer, and it's with sincere pleasure that I continuously convey my utmost wishes. These were my final words to Arthur. I could not sleep that night. I try to understand why Edna has developed such hatred for me for no apparent reason. Not having my biological kid was just an excuse to get rid of me. With my heart throbbing fiercely in my chest, I approached her. The house was eerily silent, making the thud of my footsteps on the old wooden floor echo menacingly. I saw her sitting there, sipping her tea with that cold, uncaring look. I was not just a jilted spouse, a barren woman to her, but a stain on her perfect lineage. I paused for a moment, mustered all the courage I had left, and spoke to her. Edna, I am grateful to you. Her frown deepened as she looked up, evidently confused. I took a deep breath and continued. Thank you, Edna, for showing me my worth in your life and in your son's. Thanks to you, I have the courage to find my own happiness, away from all this bitterness. It was clear from the shocked expression on Edna's face that she was taken aback. However, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. It was the end of one journey and the beginning of a new one. I walked away, leaving her in her astonishment and carrying only the hope of a brighter and happier future. Parked my bag and baggage, together with my daughter, we left my marital home. Upon descending the steps, clutching my child's tiny hand, we made our way towards our new future. Hauling my life, confined within those bags, a sigh of liberation escaped my lips, profoundly aware of the vast expanse of uncertainty we were venturing into. Leaving behind the comfort of my matrimonial hearth, a whirlwind of emotions churned within me, my gaze falling on the rearview mirror, bidding farewell to a familiar chapter, a final goodbye, one that holds nothing but an echo of my past. As we navigated towards the sunrise, the symbol of renewal, the reassurance it brought along was the beacon in our cloud of apprehension. Painstaking years of preparation and meticulous planning had led us to this pivotal moment of the grand exodus from my marriage home. I held my daughter tighter, silently promising her a life of freedom, hope, and boundless love. The commencement of our journey, the first step toward a novel chapter, left a bitter-sweet taste in my heart. I signed the divorce papers in exchange for full custody of our daughter. We had been engaged in a protracted and bitter battle over the fate of our little girl, even though he promised to give me full custody. The arguments, both in and out of court, had become a defining part of my life over the last few months. But today, I had decided it was time to put an end to it. I wanted more for our daughter, a stable and nurturing environment that I was prepared to provide on my own. The decision hadn't come easy, but I knew in my heart that it was the right thing to do for the sake of my child. I handed over the signed divorce papers to my attorney, a step closer to a future where my daughter's well-being would be my sole focus. Over 2 decades later, Clara and Arthur found themselves entwined in a clandestine marriage. They spiraled recklessly into a tangled mesh of deceit, secrets, and betrayal. Their clandestine union became an intricate maze of lost dreams and silent sacrifices. As the years slithered by, the poison of their deceit seeped into the foundations of their bond, slowly peeling layers of trust. Every secret birthed echoes of betrayal, reverberating against the thin walls of their fragile relationship. In the quiet of the night, unspoken promises would hang in the air, pregnant with regret and unresolved disputes. They found themselves swept into a cyclone of buried truths and undelivered promises, their meticulously woven lies unraveling before their eyes. The sparks that had once ignited the embers of their love now only served as a damning reminder of what they had lost in their gambit of subterfuge. Living amid the wreckage of their decisions, they existed on a tightrope of quiet desperation and distant hope, their hearts at odds with the stark reality of their situation. And as they faced the consequences of their actions, they discovered each day the troubling nuances of a love entangled in a web of deceit, secrets, and betrayal. Several years later, a chilly fall morning while I was having my regular checkup, a gossip of a nurse narrated the story of how Arthur broke down in tears the day before. I quizzed, why?
He found by way of DNA that the children by his new wife were not his.
Devastated and heartbroken, Arthur confided in the caring nurse that he had wholeheartedly believed in their relationship and considered the children his own. Arthur's friends and family, who had always been fond of his new wife, were equally shocked by the revelation. They shunned her, unwilling to forgive such a deceitful action, leaving her to face the consequences of her choices alone. In the midst of this turmoil, Arthur began to question everything he knew about love, trust, and family. The once jovial man now found himself struggling to come to terms with the shocking truth, while seeking solace in the comfort of those who supported him unconditionally. Grappling with the relentless waves of betrayal and shock, Arthur found himself leaning on the nurse more than he had expected. Her kindness and empathy became the unwavering pillar of support he so desperately needed during these trying times. Through the lens of his disheartening circumstances, Arthur came to view his relationship with his wife in a different light, revealing the cracks which he had previously overlooked. This newfound perspective amplified his remorse as he grappled with his naive trust and lack of discernment. Even in the face of such treachery, Arthur demonstrated a resilience that was nothing short of inspiring. He redoubled his efforts to heal and grow from this ordeal, slowly regaining the trust he had lost, not just in others, but in himself as well. Amidst the painful reckoning of his past, Arthur was cognizant of the difficult path that lay ahead. However, he continued to courageously face each day, forever changed, but never defeated. While the bitter revelation had undoubtedly pierced his heart, Arthur emerged from the depths of his desolation, steady in the knowledge that his strength lay in the love and loyalty of the true family he had in his friends. Their unwavering support became a beacon of hope in his life, a light that guided him through the disarray, helping him restore his faith in love, trust, and the concept of family. Some days later, after he has processed the information, I received a phone call from him. Arthur, my ex-husband. Surprisingly, his tone was calm and composed, a far cry from the arguments we used to have. He began the conversation by apologizing for the pain he had caused me during our tumultuous marriage. We spoke for what seemed like hours, discussing the past and how things could have been different. We jointly acknowledged that although our marriage didn't work, there were valuable life lessons we had each learned. Towards the end of our conversation, he informed me of what Clara did to him. So I asked him, how are his children taking the news?
Apparently they were told I was not their biological father. They knew.
Who is their biological father, if I may ask?
The pool boy.
The pool boy? Never expected this. That innocent boy? I am struggling to believe this. Apparently he also did not know the children were his. Oh, I forgot to mention Clara had twins, a boy and a girl. So where is Oscar? He answered angrily. So where is Oscar? He answered angrily.
If you think I'm going to waste another second fretting over where he goes or who he's with, you've got another thing coming. Hell, he could be on the moon for all I give a damn. He could starve, he could freeze, he could disappear off the face of the earth. None of it concerns me. Not one iota. That's how little his existence matters in my life now.
The redirected fury, the misguided wrath doesn't belong to the guiltless ones, your kids and Oscar. They are simply observing, clueless, oblivious to the turbulent storm brewing within you. Edna and Clara share a portion of this turmoil, as they have played their part in this drama, knowingly or unknowingly. But truly, the first and foremost where this anger should be rooted is within yourself. You have allowed the circumstances, the actions and words of others to stir up the tempest within you. Blaming the spectators, the silent, innocent participants will serve no purpose, for they are not the instigators of your emotions. It is you, within whom the seeds of anger were sown and nourished. Own your anger, don't misdirect it. It is a mirror of your inner world, a reflection of your inner disagreements and conflicts. With this knowledge, courageously face this emotional storm. Endure it for Edna, Clara, your children, Oscar, but most importantly, for you. Arthur's remorse was palpable, a noose of regret holding him in an unyielding grip. His utterances faltered as he sought forgiveness, his remorse seeping through the cracks of his broken facade in rivulets of grief. Empathy surged within me, as I found myself comforting this man who, despite betraying me, remained my friend. Arthur was crushed, an albatross of guilt weighing heavily around his neck. His voice broke as he apologized, his repentance expressed in sobs and tears. Compassion welled up within me, as I found myself consoling my husband over a treachery I had been a victim of. Was there room for absolution in my heart for both Arthur and a now-deceased Edna? It was a decision to be made in the understanding that to err is human and to forgive divine. Staring into the depths of his tormented eyes, I realized that the potential for salvation exists even in the darkest of hours. Should I forgive Arthur and Edna in her grave, knowing well the human propensity towards error and the possibility for redemption?